Hey guys, good evening. Let me get a 5x5 if you can hear me okay. I see 5 people. Can anyone hear me? Is anyone there? Let's see. I'm going to assume that you can hear me. Prepper Cowboy, Oscar Mike, God bless you as well. MB, I hates it when my Mylar gets stuck in the bucket anyway. Murray Rollins, yes. Thank you. Glad you all can hear me. Let's see if anybody else joins real quick before we get into this topic. Yes, we hear and see you. Thank you, Sugar Maple Homestead. That's a new name. I don't recognize it, but thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And MB, don't just go throwing your buckets away. Buckets do have a place. I mean, you can still use them. You can use your buckets just fine. The thing is, everyone talks about buckets. Oh, well, we got to stack it to the rafters. And I agree to an extent. Hi, Miss Angel. Yes, that face. And my bones are out. See my bones? They're out. I'll put them back. Anyway, MB, hello from New Brunswick, Canada. Glad that you're here. Wolfpack, Brent Rollins. Yes, my little baby sharks, my little wolves. They just went back to their moms. Sherry Leach, thank you for being here. Tubba. Hey there. James Hayden, hello from Warrior, Alabama. Thank you for being here. Jacob Winter, thank you. Big German prepared. Hello from Delaware. Ooh, Delaware. That's too close to enemy territory for my likings, but I spent a spell in Annapolis, Maryland, not Delaware. My sons and I say hi. Single Dad Prepper. Hello to your son, Single Dad. Michael Holzman. It's another blessed day. Hello from Arkansas, Kelly. I got a brother in Arkansas, Fort Smith. So if you need an oil change and you're near Fort Smith, go see the oil doctor. Hello from West Texas, Stands Alone. Red Tyrant Hunter, good to see you here. We agree on a lot of things. Not everything. Of course, nobody agrees on everything. But all right, let's get into this real quick. And I'll say hi and get back into the chat here in a little bit. Everybody talks about buckets. Buckets, stacking it to the rafters. You got to have your Mylar, put it in your buckets, fill it up with whatever, rice, beans, oats, whatever. And everyone talks about, it's best to get the food grade buckets. Well, first we're going to talk about buckets, and then we'll get into why I don't use buckets. I have 2 buckets, and in both of those buckets, I keep winter chains for my big rigs. Okay, that's what I do with buckets. For me, I think buckets are impractical. But buckets, food grade, non-food grade. Food grade buckets, because I'm sure there might be 1 or 2 people that don't know. You have food grade and non-food grade buckets. What's the difference? Well, one is certified food grade. One is not. If they're not, they could have chemicals that can leach into your food. Okay? Some chemicals can cause cancers, things like that. But it can leach into your food over time. Now, here's my question. It's a question in my head, because when I do things, even prepping related things or anything for the most part, I always, I hate that that's the way it's done. I hate that. Well, if you sit and think about things, sometimes it's not just because that's the way it's done doesn't mean it's the best or most efficient way to do it. Okay. It's always been done that way. Why? Ask yourselves these things. Unless you are storing your food directly in the bucket, without a Mylar container, directly in the bucket, doesn't need to be food grade. Because if you're putting a Mylar bag in, the chemicals aren't going to seep from the micro particles of a little bit of chemicals aren't going to seep from the bucket through the Mylar and into your food. okay, because you got a barrier there. So everybody harping on, it's got to be food grade buckets. No. Any bucket will do if you're putting a Mylar bag inside in the first place. All right. Purpose. People use these buckets. A lot of you, I would assume, a lot of you would use these buckets to store mostly grains. Okay. White rice, maybe wheat berries, oats, the like. Okay. That's a lot of weight in a bucket. Now, people will store and say, well, once I get it in that bucket, it's good for 20 years. Well, if you're 60 years old, 60-year-old woman, 60-year-old man, and then you're 80, try lifting that damn bucket and toting it around. It's impractical, okay? We'll get into shelf life here in a second, but it's impractical. You want to try to have as much maneuverability and think about the long term like that. All right. Right now, I have no problem grabbing a 5-gallon bucket of rice, hefting it up, and walking out to the truck. I could do 2 of them at one time. But in 20 years, I probably won't be able to do that. My rotator cuffs are shot as it is from the military. To do that in 20 years, no, thank you. So what I do is slightly different. All right. A lot of people, they talk about buckets, but they don't understand the sole purpose of the primary purposes of the bucket. They think, well, this is the way it's done. They say you put the Mylar in, fill it up, oxygen absorber inside, like these right here, oxygen absorbers inside, and seal the Mylar, put the lid on the bucket, good to go for 20 years or whatever, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, who knows? But the thing is, the main purpose of the bucket is to keep the Mylar food safe, not really from sunlight or anything like that, because any container will do that. It is to keep it from primarily rodents and to keep, for some reason, air out, which Mylar, if you buy thick enough Mylar, okay, good Mylar bags, they'll keep most of the air out. Now, over time, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, small amounts of air will seep in. But the thing is, put your food in here, put your oxygen absorber, or 2, if you want to be extra cautious, in here. As it absorbs the oxygen, it creates a slight vacuum. All right. So over time, any small amounts of air that can seep through the bag over time will continue to be absorbed by the oxygen absorber, because oxygen absorbers will continue to absorb oxygen until they can't anymore. So if you throw 2 of these in there, that's overkill for a bag this size. All right. And it will continue to work over time. So any container that you put them in will be okay for a very significant amount of time. Now, myself, I use Sterilite containers. Similar to this. It has a gasket that goes around that once I put it on the container, it will keep most air out, just like a bucket will. The difference is, I'm going to lift this up, even though it's got 20 pounds of rice in it right now. This container, rice, all right, all Mylar'd up with an oxygen absorber in there. I just did this tonight. I got 7 bags. So out of a 20-pound bag of rice, I got roughly 7 just under 3-pound bags. I'm going to sit this in here just because I'm going to sit this on the floor. But my thing is, if you, and that container right there will keep most rodents out, just like a bucket. It's more of a deterrent, because let me tell you something. A rodent, if it wants into your bucket, if it wants into your Sterilite container, it will get in. Rats can chew through steel pipes given enough time. They do it all the time. They can chew through concrete. They can chew through wood. They can chew through a lot harder shit than plastic. All right, even plastic buckets. But why I put it in these types of containers is because I don't keep all my eggs in one basket. You've all heard this before. I can put in this, I can have one bucket that I fill with 20 pounds of rice, okay? And shit hits the fan, I can got to grab my buckets of rice. I got to go grab a bucket of beans. I got to go grab a bucket of oats. Or if the enemy's at the gates, like on my TV here in Ukraine, and I only have a limited amount of time, I can grab 2 or 3 of these totes that has 2 3-pound bags of rice, 2 3-pound bags of beans, a 5-pound bag of oats, etc. I can put a variety into this one container. It's still going to be good for 10, 15 years. And I simply take a marker and I write on each bag as I'm doing. See? Rice. It's hard for you to see it a little bit, but it's not hard for me. You don't have to use tape, but you could use tape. And what I do with the tape is I put this on the side or on the lid, preferably on the side if you're going to be stacking them, and I write what is in. 6 pounds of rice, 3 pounds of oats, and I write everything that's in here and the date that I put it into the container. Now I have a container that's got multiple items of food that I can pick up and go. And I don't have to worry about this, because there's times you're going to have to abandon some of your stuff. There are different scenarios where you might have to abandon some of your stuff. Shelf life. It's going to have about the same shelf life as in a bucket. Space. You can stack these just like you can buckets. Weight. Depending on what you put in, it could have more or even less weight than a bucket. Okay. Now, if you're stacking these, you want to have, just like buckets, you want to have your heavier things on the bottom, lighter things as you go up to stack them. These are easier for 2 people to carry than it is for 2 people to carry one bucket if you're an elderly person. Because you ever tried to carry a heavy 5-gallon bucket and you're like, hey man, give me a hand with this. The handles, it's uncomfortable. This, I can easily say, grab that side, grab this side, we go. All right, 2-man lift. And I can store other things in here too. I can throw in seeds, which I normally do. I throw in seeds. You can throw in, take your Mylar, and, I got seeds in here. I also have freedom seeds. All right, vacuum seal or Mylar some freedom seeds. Throw it in there. Seeds, green cucumber. That's your code. That way, if somebody, hey, go over to that, you're bugged out. Hey, go over there and get this out of that bucket they're going through. They don't realize you got a bunch of ammunition sitting in there. All right. Think outside the box. Learned a lot. Let me look in the chat real quick. Learned a lot already, by God. Good stuff. Thank you, James Hayden. Let's see who else is in there. Tammy Stiegel. A American's in here somewhere. Oh, there you are. Good evening, A American. Leah, good to see you. Thank you all for being here. Again, doing it in buckets isn't incorrect. It's not a wrong way. There's really no wrong way to store. Well, there are wrong ways to. There's no wrong way to stack to the rafters. There's just different ways. Okay. Now, another reason why I do it like this is because it's more easily accessible. Try taking a lid off of a bucket. They make bucket removal tools and stuff like that. But this, it has 2 clasps on one side, 2 clasps on the other side. Good to go. The yellow and black Sterilites that you find at Walmart, just like this, but they're yellow and black, have on the ends. I use those a lot for other things too. But what was I going to say? I done lost my train of thought. Variety. eggs spread over many different baskets. There was something I was wanting to tell you that, shelf life. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, we're going to stack the wrappers. I want 30-year shelf life. I promise you that doing it this way, I don't know about 30 years, but I know for 10, it's going to be damn good. It'll be perfectly fine for 10. All right. Maybe 15, possibly 20, because I've never eaten out of a bucket 20-year-old rice either. Okay. But my thing is, most of us, I'm going to speak for most of us here, don't have room for 30 years worth of food. All right. So why are you storing food with a 30-year shelf life, intending on using it in 25 or 30 years? I'm fairly certain in 30 years, I'm probably going to be dead. It's bad hearts running in my family, bad kidneys, things like that. I'm probably going to be dead in 30 years. But even if I wasn't going to be, unless I had a large structure that was climate controlled or a bunker, a nice one, I'm not stacking 30 years worth of food. I'm stacking 5 years, maybe 10 years, because here's the thing. I'm going to use this food, especially with it being in a container like this. It's more accessible. So I can use the food, replace the food, and keep extending my 5 to 10 year supply of food, right? Because I could reasonably store comfortably 5 to 10 years worth of food here and it not really be in the way. Now you talk 30 years, that's some space, people. You're talking a lot of space, all right? And I can't really, other than Mad Max society breaking out, I can't imagine needing 30 years worth of food. All right. Because with seeds, no matter what, even 5 years, in 5 years, if tomorrow nukes went off, all right, and some people are like, oh my God, we're about to be nuked. You never know. But if tomorrow the lights went out, in the next 5 years, I should damn well be able to have my own food growing from the ground. If not, there's a problem. Some form of society will reestablish itself. People that farm will continue to farm over the next, in a 5 year period. The food will come back. Even in the Bible, they only prepped for 7 years. All right. In Egypt, remember? Or my Bible people at? Yeah. Stored 7 years of famine coming. All right. So let's just, to cover our bases, let's say we stack for 10 years. Plus, it's more economically viable than trying to get 30 years worth of food. Let's see what we got in the chat here. Let me get in the chat. That is a lot of food. It is, Tammy Siegel. Stiegel. That's a lot of food. It's crazy. I hear people, this has a 30-year shelf life. Well, why are you waiting so long to eat your food? What are you doing? Now, I know that the U.S. government has bunkers where they've got 20 and 30-year shelf life food, and they rotate food out. But, and some of it just sits there. But that's just our money being wasted. Ever see the AMC series, The Badlands? I figure something like that. I have seen parts of The Badlands, yes, and I could see Warlords. Here's the thing. Who said that? KY Survival. The Badlands. Now, I know some of you have been there. There's going to be a handful in here who have been. But the Badlands reminds me of Afghanistan. Because that's the way Afghanistan was before we went in, and it is now. Warlords in different areas that control different things. But the Taliban came in and put them all under one flag, if you will. OFC, what was your MOS? I have had many. My last one was 35 Foxtrot, intelligence analyst. Before that, I was 37 Foxtrot, psychological operations sergeant for a very long time. In the Navy, I was naval security operations. And before that, I was an engineman in the Navy. And before that, because I was Army, Navy, Army. Before that, I was 31 Charlie, which no longer exists in the military. That's a wired dog, commo. And I hate commo. I always forget all the stuff about commo. The easiest thing for me to do was to go, hey, Private Snuffy, go program my radio. Because it's just easier for me. But no, I haven't had this. I got the sergeant's, but I still haven't one. There's one on my desk that has step by step how to program a damn Singar's radio, because I always forget shit like that. But then again, I've had multiple concussions, multiple blunt force trauma to the skull, and my memory sometimes is hinky. I stockpile seeds, just started a bunch today. Good on you, Dynamite. Yes, I typically every spring when the seeds come out at Walmart or Lowe's or stuff like that, I go and I grab a bunch of them and I'll put them into my little caches. And I say caches because another thing I do with these containers is I will load them up with all the stuff I want, heaviest stuff on the bottom, lighter stuff on top, because I will even Mylar, and I pulled out another one. I had one sitting there. I will even Mylar like egg noodles, okay? I'll Mylar egg noodles, put in an oxygen absorber, and what I'll also do is I will put in some of the bouillon cubes, typically with egg noodles. That way, if I need, SHTF, I grab egg noodles with bouillon cubes. Guess what? The soup, right there. It's soup. And in some of these, what I'll do is I'll put cans of tuna, cans of chicken meat, things like that on the bottom. Of course, on the sides, I'll have the dates written on with this. And that way, I've got basically a full meal. I've got egg noodles. I've got bouillon cubes. I've got chicken meat that's good for 2 to 5 years. All right. And this is a 5-year pack. And I'll put it out at different friends' houses. All right. And there, you can pack enough food in 4 of these. I can pack enough food to last me, my significant other, and all 4 of my children for 6 months or longer. I say or longer, leaning towards the or longer, because when you get in that scenario, you're going to ration food anyway. So, and we don't eat a lot as it is. I eat sometimes 2 meals a day, sometimes. So in 4 containers like that, I can fit almost a year's worth of supplies for myself and 4 children. 10 years is realistic, but years fly by. It's not bad for food to last a long time. Your grandkids can eat out of it. Yes, tubba they can, but realistically, would they? Because most of the time when people die, people go through their shit and throw it the hell out. A lot of it, and I don't want all this food, which is money, which I could use for other things, going to the curb someday. So 5 to 10 years, and I can rotate the stock quite easily and use the food that I'm putting away and put more in, and then put the container back, and then pull the next container, use that, because it's a good fit for me. It works for me. It's a good way to do things. 13 Bravo, 19 Delta Armor, I believe. Am I right, Red Tyrant Hunter? Thank you for your service, OFC and Dynamite and Red Tyrant Hunter. Good idea. Single dad prepper. Let's see. Who else we got here? Top Hat 19. What about using 5-gallon buckets as booby traps for marauders? Yes, you can. If that's a twist on it, but you absolutely can. You can have things that make it go boom. Yeah, you can have things like that inside that are wired so that once that lid comes off, shit goes sideways. But the problem is, you would damn well better make sure that you know which ones are which and keep them segregated and make sure. And here's the problem with that. I would have them set up, ready to go, ready to where I could easily turn it into a device. Okay, should shit happen. But I wouldn't make one and put it away. Okay. Because God forbid I die. And then one of my grandkids comes by. Oh, what's in the bucket? There goes your grandkids or your children or whoever. But yes, you could actually Cavalry Scout. Oh yes, 19 Delta. That was I had a former CO that was 19 Delta. Why did I think Armory? Yeah, he was my old captain. I think he's a major now, but he was a West Point ring knocker, and he was a Cav Scout. Good people. It's sad that y'all got that yellow for that patch and stuff, though. I know the symbolism behind it and what, but I think y'all need to change that. You need to change that. Get that yellow the hell out of there. FYI, chat, MRE shelf life is between 2 to 4 years. Yes. I've personally eaten a 6-year-old MRE, and it was actually good. Yeah, and you would be surprised how much food, as far as MREs or just regular food, that the government just shit cans. It actually makes me sick sometimes when we were training, like at their big fort out at NTC, National Training Center, in the middle of the desert. They just dig giant holes with excavators, and any food not used during training goes straight in the ground. It doesn't go back into the stock system. They just dump it. Thousands, tens of thousands of dollars worth of food. Because it's cavalry, we do armor. Okay. If you run out of food, I hear commies taste like chicken. LOL. Yes, long pig. We've talked about that before on this channel. Does anyone have any? Let me check my little notes here. Anything else regarding the storage of food? Now, like I said, in these containers, it's easier to access. You can stack them, and it pretty much does the same purpose as a bucket. It keeps rodents and shit from getting in to damage the bags and eat your food. Because these bags, although they look, oh, that's a metal bag. No, it's just Mylar. They're not as sturdy as people think they are. You can punch a hole in them. And that's why people put them in buckets. Okay. But like I said, I got all that rice there. It's going to be split out amongst different ones. And I'll add other things to this one and to the other ones. American, thanks for the info, brother. Hey, American's always got good info. And if you haven't been to his channel, I suggest you do so. For anybody who's new to me or him, American. He's got good stuff. All right. What do we got? Dehydration takes far less space, but requires good water supply. Yes. And I don't have a food dehydrator. All right. Or a freeze dryer. I have a food saver, which I use to vacuum some things because I'm overly cautious. So I will literally, in some cases, I will vacuum seal certain stuff and then Mylar it, which is technically pointless because it's doing the same thing just twice. But like I said, I overkill shit a lot. I have redundancies are built into my hardwiring. All right. 2 is 1, 1 is none. You ever see what a 3-pound mountain rat can chew through? Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. River rats, nutria, just your black city rat, they can chew through anything. Pressure can meat goes great with rice and pasta. Okay. See, I haven't learned to can anything yet. I have friends who can. In fact, I've got a bunch of chili up there that they've canned for me, and it's awesome chili. But we're all part of the same team, so we kind of work together. Vacuum seal anything you dehydrate. Mylar adds shelf life. Yes. And there's still some crazy stuff on the news right now, and we'll get into that in another video, I'm sure. Someone, I don't remember who it was because I threw my little piece of paper away, but someone in the last video, the last live rather, had mentioned a purge bag. If you're in here and you said, hey, do a purge bag, that video is coming. Just say, hey, it was me. OFC is pretty easy to can. I've heard that, Leah. I've just never taken the time. I have other, I outsource, if you will. Okay. We have a guy in our crew, our mag, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that word. But he drills water wells for a living. All right. So we have that guy with his knowledge. We have another guy, who's good at medical. We have another guy who's, multitasking, outsourcing things, getting people who can augment the group. It's easier to can than to say Frigidator. It's easy to say Frigidator. I say Frigidator all the time. Leah poking fun at me again. Where do you order your Mylar bags? Online. Google. You Google, and it will come up with all kinds of shit. All right. And then, but you got to remember, when you order your Mylar bags, order oxygen absorbers. All right. And they come vacuum sealed, and they only last for so long. Okay. Once you open it. So I try to do as many as I can with the pack, because there's like 30 in a pack that I buy. And then I'll put the other ones inside. Should vacuum seal them again, would be the best way. But what I do is I take the remainder and I put them inside of a Ziploc bag. I squeeze all the air out. I zip it shut. And I put that, because redundancies are built in my brain, hardwired. I put that in another Ziploc bag, squeeze the air out, seal that. And then I put them in this food saver bag and squeeze some of the air out, and they should last. And I have the oxygen indicator inside here that would show me if they're bad or not. But that's what I do. Let's see. Where do you order my? Okay, laugh out. My idea of a purge bag is currently illegal. Not necessarily. Now, see, the funny thing is I was sitting next to Angel in the truck, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to do that video of a purge bag. And I said, what would you want in a purge bag? And her reply was, well, I think I'd want some, I don't know, what stuff to keep me hid, to keep me safe. And I'm like, whoa. I was surprised, because I was like, we have two different concepts of a purge bag sitting in this truck right now, because your idea of a purge bag is stuff to keep you safe. And my idea, of course, come on now, I wear bones in my beard, I got baby sharks and baby wolves. It's wolves in a pack, stay on track. My concept of purge bag is what I'm going to be using to purge. So I'm going to have to hit that video from two separate angles. LOL, boom. Exactly. Exactly, Red Tyrant Hunter. Because when you talk to one person, they say, well, what'd you want a purge bag? Well, I guess stuff to keep me safe, stuff to keep me hid from IR, from lost the word. Y'all know what I'm talking about. From thermal scopes. All right. Things to help me stay alive for 24 hours. And I'm thinking about things to hunt people for 24 hours. All right. So machete will purge dense vegetation. Yes. So I'm going to hit that video from two different sides, two different angles. We're going to see what someone who was trying to not be hunted would have in their purge bag or might want. And we're going to see what the hunters would put in their purge bag. Because I got some ideas. When you said, well, purge bag, I was like, oh, yeah. Purge bag, you would shoot it, cut it, or blow it up. There are some other ways. But I'll surprise you with that. Doesn't just mean shoot it, cut it. Those are good ways. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. All right? There are nastier ways of dispatching things that are alive. But we'll get into that in the video. All right. I hope this was informative for some people, made some people think. Just because, and you can keep, like I said, you can keep on doing the bucket thing. It works. It does work. But there's more than one way to skin a cat. So think about where you're going to be in 20 years. Are you going to be able to lift this? Are you going to be able to think about, for the simple fact is, if somebody comes by and they're hungry, they're starving, they got their kids, like you hear John over Prepper Nation say a lot, what I'm going to, you're going to hand them a 5-gallon bucket of rice, 20 pounds of rice, or here, get to stepping, don't come back, or else you'll be in the pot. All right. Easier to barter with. Plus, in an SHTF scenario, if I open 20-pound bags of rice, well, now we got to use it, because I'm not resealing that shit and using an iron if the grid's down. I'm not. It's a more manageable fun size. This will last me 2-3 weeks. With my kids. And they are half Asian. They love the shit out of rice. It's true. The little ones always, Dad, can you make rice and Spam and eggs? Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem. Beaverines. That's right, Leah. Beaverines or bulbarines in Russia. Just saying. All right. I appreciate all of you being here. Hit the thumbs up, hit the share, hit the like, do all the things, or don't if you don't want to. But I appreciate it, because I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers. And when I do, I'm going to do that giveaway again. Like I said, I'm going to be giving away the filter water bottle, the lock picking kit with the trainer lock and the lock pick set, and that snowflake tool, which is not in here right now because guess what? I was using it day before yesterday. So it's out in my truck because it works. It was useful. It was the only useful snowflake I've ever had. So, all right, nation. Good night. God bless. Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Far worse things than death. Yes. Farmer Son Prepping. Hey, everyone. I don't like missing people, especially if you take the time out to come here. I don't like missing if you said something. And I'm kind of tech-tarded, so if I close this out, I won't be able to see this shit again. Let me see here. I'm just going to scroll up real quick. Already answered that. Answered that. Scroll up a little bit more. I ate a 17-year-old MRE once. It tasted just as bad as the brand new ones, so it must have been okay. Wow, Red Tyrant Hunter. All right, I think I answered everybody's questions. So, FJB, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, so I got a roll, just so you know, I got a roll of stickers that got Trump saying Biden did that. So if for some reason you are ever in the area of the tri-state area here and you park like a complete and utter asshole and you come out and one of them is on your bumper, I didn't do it. Just saying, I didn't do it. But you can get a whole roll for like $30. Biden did that. Stickers. Lucifer Nation, thank you. Big Red, baby sharks. Yes, baby sharks. They're growing up so fast. It's crazy. OFC Nation, good night. God bless. I love you. And to my baby sharks, Daddy, see you again soon. I'm out of here.